to a brand new episode of Southern Woke.
I'm Marina.
And I'm Kalen.
And he's back.
Y'all, I am back. I was out last week with the COVIDs.
Yep. And I just didn't want to do like an extra episode without him. It just wouldn't feel right. And I know that we both would go hard for this episode, so I'm glad we're back and better than ever.
Absolutely. So my taste just started coming back today. It's probably at like 25% back. I can kind of taste something.
You lost it?
Huh?
You lost it?
Yes, and it's like as bad as that. Did you ever have COVID?
No, not that I knew of.
Okay, well, like it literally like 100% goes away. Like I was mouthwashing and couldn't even taste the mouthwash at
Oh
all.
my God.
You could have told me it was water. Like it was weird.
If I do get COVID, I'm gonna my mouth is gonna be squeaky clean by the end of it because I'm just gonna mouthwash all the time just to see.
It was so weird. Like I bet if I was gonna take shots of something, I wouldn't even taste it. Yeah, that sounds awful, but
Drunk and COVID. That's no.
but it's slowly coming back now, so I'm good.
Good.
I cannot wait to eat some Raisin Cane's chicken fingers though. I've been craving that and I couldn't taste anything for 2 weeks. And I'm ready for Cane's.
That just eh. I'm so full right now thinking about Cane's But I'm glad you didn't end up in a hospital, so that's fabulous.
Absolutely. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It was kind of like the flu.
I don't even think I've ever been diagnosed with the flu in my life.
I did once. I also had this really weird lower back pain. That was one of my biggest symptoms. It was my lower back hurt really bad, but it was like that when I had the flu too.
That's me 5 days out of the week.
I don't know how you deal with that. It was awful.
Alright, so before we get into our major topic today, we wanted to talk about something major that happened recently. That is Astroworld disaster.
So I don't know how much you've seen of it, but I've just been seeing a bunch of TikTok videos and a bunch of YouTube videos. So I don't even know if I could tell you 100% accurately the whole story, but it was horrifying looking.
Yeah, so basically if you've been living under a rock and haven't heard about this, a summary is that Astroworld is a music festival that Travis Scott and some people put together, and at this particular festival, the crowd for Travis Scott's performance, it was 50,000 people, and they were all rushing the stage, and it turned into a clusterfuck, and people were being sucked down. There was no oxygen for them to breathe. People were literally dying. There were ambulances trying to come through the crowd as Kylie Jenner is filming in the background. Pregnant Kylie Jenner with her toddler in this rowdy crowd. I mean, obviously she had her protection, but nobody else did.
There are definitely a lot of videos that came out of this that make so many people look like bad people. When you see Kylie Jenner just filming it, I feel there's no way she knew what was going on, but still, why are you filming a...
But Kylie Jenner aside, because she probably, I wouldn't put it past her, she was just oblivious because she's Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
But Travis Scott knew what the fuck was going on,
100%.
and I'm so sick of people defending him, saying, oh, he couldn't have possibly seen into the crowd to see what was actually happening. No. First of all, yes, I've been on the stage before. I know you can't see shit going out there, but he has enticed his crowds at every concert, nearly, to rage, to go as hard as possible. He congratulates his fans by taking pictures of them either passed out, beaten up, on the floor, bleeding black eyes. He'll post it on his Instagram and be I love you guys, oh my god, you went so hard, congrats, pat on the back. And these kids are these are real life injuries.
Yeah.
And it's so sickening. And he literally said, I want to see blood, meet you on the other side. All these, he's been said, or he did say in previous interviews that what was the wording? He wants a cult following. That was it. That's what gets me. So it's literally he's this celebrity that really wants a cult following, and he wants to bring all of them together at these concerts to rage. He wants to see blood. And people are is it a sacrifice? is. Which,
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Like, that was weird, right?
I mean, the burning dove, the portal, none of it sits right with me, but I'm not gonna cross that line and say, like, he is doing something demonic.
It definitely didn't look good, though.
No, it's a bad look. And the fact that Travis Scott is tied into things like Fortnite, McDonald's, all these things where literally like toddlers will point and know who that is. It's disgusting. Like, that's just all I gotta say on it, man. It's effed up. Oh, also, I wanted to like put a little story in. One time I was at Hangout Fest, and Panic at the Disco had just finished performing, and The Weeknd was next. So everyone was like swarming to get to the front for The Weeknd, and me, Lindsay, and some other friends that we were there with, literally we're in that moment where everyone is just pushing and shoving so hard, you're getting lifted off the ground. My hair's long as fuck. It was getting pulled everywhere. I had bruises. Lindsay had bruises. So like being in that kind of crowd sucks. I can't imagine at the magnitude of what that crowd was.
I was just about to ask you, because I know you go to concerts and like music festivals way more than I do. I was about to say, has anything like that ever happened to you?
That's part of the reason I don't go anymore.
That's scary. I've been to like one real music festival, and I think it was like Monster Fest or something. I don't know. Godsmack was performing. But anyway, I was like in the middle of the crowd, and it wasn't even like that rowdy of a concert, but it was so crowded I ended up like just walking out of the crowd. So if it was something like that, like I would die.
Like, and I've been near mosh pits before in some crazy crowds. I've even seen Travis Scott live at Voodoo. Like, I've witnessed some rowdy crowds and like mosh pits. Like, when I tell you, it feels like you're in a different dimension when you're in those crowds, because you may be on whatever drug you may be on. Like, I'll be honest right now, the only thing I've ever done at a festival is smoke some weed. Like, that's it. But, like, I'm still aware to know what I'm seeing. And it's literally, it looks like people that are there, but not in their bodies. And they're just doing things with their body like they don't give a fuck if they wake up tomorrow. And
that's so scary. I don't like that.
They'll start doing the mosh pit, and they start pushing and shoving you. They don't care if girls are around. They don't care who you are. They literally have no concern for anything. It's disgusting, and that like turned me off so much. I don't know how I went to so many. I don't know how I gave my money to put myself in that situation so many times. But I'm glad I don't do it no more. Moral of the story: don't go to Astroworld.
Yeah. Y'all let us know what y'all think about the Astroworld situation.
Whew, it's a doozy. Oh, and rest in peace all the people that did die, unfortunately, because, like, that's just a damn shame. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Speaking of R.I.P., today we're going to talk about all the ways the Earth might R.I.P.
Yeah. Or just disastrous events in general that could really screw things up for a lot of us.
Yeah, and there are a whole lot of ways that the world could just end, and now I'm going to be more paranoid than normal after doing this episode.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, whenever we thought of this episode, I was pretty much like, let's just do anything that could, rock our world, basically. And Kaylin took the space direction, like, what could attack us from space, and I took a very, like, Mother Nature type of feel, like what here on our Earth could screw us over. So, you want to go first? What one of your space theories?
Alright, so let's just go ahead and say the obvious one that I'm pretty sure everybody's thinking right now. An asteroid could absolutely demolish the Earth. So, in 1908, a 200-foot wide comet fragment entered our atmosphere and exploded over the Tunguska region in Siberia, Russia, with nearly 1,000 times the energy of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Astronomers estimate similar-sized events occur like this every 1 to 3 centuries. 1,000 times the energy of the bomb we dropped on Hiroshima? This happened in 1908. How have we not heard of this or talked about this?
How do we... Well, I was about to say, how do we not feel it? Or how is there not record of people where we are feeling it?
Yeah, exactly. There's gotta be.
Yeah, like 1908, people could write it down.
An asteroid 5 miles wide would cause major extinctions, like the one that may have marked the end of the age of the dinosaurs. And if you want to be even more scared, look at the Kuiper Belt. It's a zone just beyond Neptune that contains roughly 100,000 ice balls more than 50 miles in diameter. The Kuiper Belt sends a steady rain of small comets earthward. If one of the big ones headed right for us, that would be it for all forms of life, even cockroaches.
What about the, heat-thriving, extremophile bacterias?
Oh, that would, come off of that?
No, that are, in the earth, the bacteria that can, live in volcanoes and shit because they can, just survive in extreme environments. What if, only those survived and then centuries later a new human form is evolved?
Okay, well, most things on Earth will die. Maybe not the super surviving bacteria and volcanoes.
Gotta be optimistic.
It has always been a fear of mine that an asteroid's gonna hit the Earth.
Oh no.
That is so scary.
And some of my I was just trying to research something recent in regards to this. I don't want to spoil it. But a video on YouTube popped up of some asteroid heading toward the Earth, and I just did not want to click on it.
Don't! Good call. If at the end of each of these sections they don't say, but this is highly unlikely, I get so upset.
Well,
Let's go atmosphere. Y'all protect us.
try your best. That's just
That's it for the asteroid.
Okay. Alright, then let's go into one of mine. The San Andreas Fault, which I'm sure definitely the West Coasters have heard of, and if not, pay attention. So this is the largest fault on Earth. It's about 800 miles long and one of the most dangerous geological features on the planet. It has spawned many, many earthquakes in its existence, 13 notably large ones. And, yeah, there's just so many things about this one that so many things could trigger something catastrophic. Just say one of these little baby asteroids hit the West Coast and trigger that fault line to just crumble. Then, goodbye San Francisco, goodbye LA, goodbye, everything over there. But I have some more science. Let me see. Okay, so I watched this documentary of these people trying to basically lay out the history of how the fault formed. And in 1906, there was the San Francisco earthquake that lasted 45 seconds and 28,000 buildings were destroyed, 3,000 people were killed, and it was a 7.8 magnitude. And the world was stunned and didn't know why the hell it happened. So then that's when they started looking for the fault line. They saw that Native American myths explain earthquakes as shocks from a battle between warring spirits. So they knew that these earthquakes were happening even when the Native Americans were there. So it wasn't just since 1906. So a team of 25 scientists studied the damage to see what they could learn from it. And the most damning evidence came from a town north of San Francisco where a fence had been separated 8 feet and the land was jolted apart. And then adding that on a map with similar situations where there was that 8-foot gap, a line formed down the San Andreas Fault where it is. And the fault is where the North American plate is rested slightly on top of where the plate holding the Pacific Ocean is. And around 200 million years ago, the heavy Pacific Ocean plate collided with the North American plate and it started sinking underneath, and the plates were forced to change direction. So then the Pacific plate had to start sliding north, and 20 million years ago, the fault was formed. So, one part of the land has evidence that it has shifted 300 feet over 3,000 years. That's 1 foot per decade, 1 inch a year. And then, let's see, it gets juicier.
Have you ever been in an earthquake?
No.
Okay, because we don't really have fault lines in Louisiana. But that to also be one of my huge fears growing up is that like I'd get caught in an earthquake.
I don't know. Did they even like make us do earthquake drills in school?
I didn't have any, no.
I don't remember. Like I know what they look like. Like you get under the desk.
I don't even know that. Like, you get under a desk for an earthquake?
Apparently. But I'm pretty sure Louisiana like does have earthquakes though, but they're like so low in magnitude that like it's not
Yeah.
even newsworthy.
So like, how exaggerated is my view of an earthquake? Does the ground actually like start like breaking apart right in front of you, like you can literally fall into the earth? Like, is that actually real or is that just movies?
Well, think about it. Earthquakes come from seismic activity, which come from tectonic plates.
Yeah.
It's not like these tectonic plates are just frozen in time. They're constantly forming friction and like kind of just like floating. I don't know, I guess. But I don't know. Earthquakes, I hate to break it to you, are so much more common than you would think. Like, we'll get to that in one of my stories.
Alright.
Okay, so what else do I have on this? 2004 earthquake helped scientists pinpoint the origin of the earthquake. Okay, so they got a sample of rock 2 miles down from in the ground and found that the rock had serpentinite with talc in it. So that makes it very slippery, explaining why the plates were sliding so easily. And a major earthquake is 100 years overdue over there. The longer it takes, the more likely this will be the big one. And it's likely, apparently, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, to be in the next 30 years.
What?
And like the straighter the fault line where the earthquake is, the more devastating. So like some of these along the fault line, like some parts are straighter and some like kind of curved.
Yeah.
But if the earthquake falls on a straighter one, the shock that it sends out, like it could be like a 9.0 or more in magnitude. And the shaking severity would last like 2 to 3 minutes straight, compared to that like 7.8 that lasted 45 seconds.
Jesus.
So yeah, and I don't even have to like really go into what that would do to the West Coast. It would cause like a tsunami going over to Japan probably. Goodbye Hollywood, but maybe that's. I've always thought in the back of my mind, like if that does happen, that's Mother Nature saying that the entertainment industry needs to go.
Seriously. We can lose Hollywood, it'll be alright.
Whew, anxiety. What you got next?
Alright, let's also talk about gamma ray burst. So did you know that at any point we could just like get struck by a gamma ray and all die?
I didn't know just like at any moment.
So if you watch the night sky with gamma ray vision, you would see once a day a bright flash appear, briefly outshine everything else, and then vanish. Astrophysicists recently learned that these gamma ray bursts originate in distant galaxies and are unfathomably powerful, as much as 10 quadrillion, that's a 1 followed by 16 zeros times as energetic as the sun. The bursts are believed to originate from the merging of 2 collapsed stars, and then they give off these super powerful gamma rays. We would have no way of detecting that this was about to happen. All it would take is for one just to be aimed directly at the Earth, whenever it happens, and we're all gone. The good news though, Earth's atmosphere would initially protect us from most of the burst's deadly X-rays and gamma rays. The bad news is there is a cost. Even if our atmosphere did protect us from one of these gamma rays hitting us, the potent radiation would cook the atmosphere, creating nitrogen oxides that would destroy the ozone layer. Without an ozone layer, ultraviolet rays from the sun would reach the surface at nearly full force, causing skin cancer, and more seriously, killing off the tiny photosynthetic plankton in the ocean that provide oxygen to the atmosphere and bolster the bottom of the food chain. So, yeah, we would basically be screwed at any point if a gamma ray ever hit the Earth. So let's just hope that one doesn't ever happen.
Oh, yeah.
All the gamma ray bursts that are observed they've been extremely distant away, which implies that they're rare. So scientists say that it's unlikely that one will hit us, but we know so little about it that...
Maybe like the force of our universe spinning keeps it away. It's unpenetratable. That's just what I'm gonna think in my head.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna go with that one. Just so
You
we don't
can't
think about
penetrate
this.
our universe.
What I don't get is it says once a day, like these flashes happen, you could see it. So like, what's going on? Like, they're obviously pretty common.
Why, when you said gamma rays, I thought like it was gonna be rays from the sun, but that's solar. The solar stuff. Solar winds. I don't know.
I actually have something about that on here.
Oh, but I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say about the sun.
Yeah, you can say what you.
Just like the sun is eventually gonna burn out, and that's one way the Earth will end.
Yeah. That's so scary to think about.
But we're not gonna be alive for that one. There's some good news. Well, no, I'm not gonna go into reincarnation right now. Alright, so is that all on the gamma rays?
Yes.
Okay. Another one of my favorites, and a place that I hope I make it to see with my own two eyes one day, is Yellowstone. Actually, one of my childhood friends just recently got engaged in Yellowstone. Congrats. You probably don't listen to this, but congrats.
Some of my best friends just got back from there too.
So, I was watching this documentary of how the Earth, I keep calling everything a documentary. It was an episode of how the Earth was made. And so, if you don't know, Yellowstone is in Wyoming, and it's one of the world's most geologically active places, and again, one of the most dangerous. There is about 5,000 earthquakes per year in that area.
Damn.
There's about 10,000 or more geysers or hot springs, and that's like more than the world's combined numbers. Yellowstone sits on a plateau 8,000 feet up and stretches into Idaho and Montana. That's too much information. I'm skipping that. I get so scientific in my notes. I'm like, the area of this land is 63 miles north to south. Like, why do I write that down? It's like I keep these notes for just future knowledge. I don't know. I'm weird. But okay. So it was actually the world's first national park because of its unique geology. Some of the rocks there are dated 2.8 to 3.2 billion years old. Have you ever heard of Old Faithful?
Yes.
So that's a hot spring that explodes about every 90 minutes. And it's a water reservoir underneath it that fills with water. And the rocks underneath like heat it up. So like every 90 minutes it just recharges and so like that's the little tourist attraction there.
I remember having like a test question in school over Old Faithful. Like, why was that something we learned in school?
I know, they went so hard for random
They really did.
USA things. But so there's like an Indian, it's called the Indian Lake, or I don't know what it's called, but there's a lake or something that have underwater vents that releases gas. And it contains like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide. These are all the same ingredients that comes out of volcanoes. And there's also quartz from the hot springs that come from lava. So scientists were trying to figure out why this land is like the way it is. And then they got all these clues that there could be a volcano somewhere nearby, but there was obviously no volcano to be seen. So they had to keep on studying. And so ancient arrowheads show that Native Americans lived there 11,000 years ago and talked about angry spirits that made the ground rumble. And then they found, I think they kind of hinted where to look next, and they found obsidian 60 miles from where they think this volcano is. And obsidian is like formed from more lava stuff.
Yeah, have you ever played Minecraft?
No.
Are you joking? You've never played Minecraft?
No.
Wow.
I'm not a dweeb.
My Minecraft listeners out there, y'all know what I'm talking about.
And I'm not sorry for calling you a dweeb. Okay, so in 1960, they realized that rock formations formed a circular rim of a crater that was like 45 miles wide. So basically they had this theory that that's where the volcano was, and the last big eruption it had collapsed it inwards, and now it was kind of like a little crater that had a rim around it.
Heard.
So, let's see, in California, scientists found a layer of ash under soil that matched with Yellowstone. Ash. My cat's just like slid down the roof of the ceiling. I don't know. They're wild. And they distracted me. Okay. They found a layer of ash under soil that matched with Yellowstone ash, dating it 640,000 years ago, which was the date of the last super eruption. And then that eruption was so strong the volcano collapsed in on itself, and the magma chamber remains though. So like it's a volcano that don't look like a volcano, but that magma is still sitting there. It's still fueling shit. That's why there's water bursting out the ground every now and then.
That's so scary.
See, look, I drew a little picture. That's the ground. There's the magma chamber. Now the scariest thing is this. Okay, so underneath the magma chamber is like, you know, Earth's molten, eternal like lava shit. I don't know. But it's always there. But this is how deep it is. Like, there's this lava pipe that just is constantly, like, spewing lava. And it, like, travels, like, in a hot spot. And it's, like, at any given moment, this hot spot could just, like, poof. So, hot spot puts an eruption every about 600,000 years. The scary thing is, the last one was 640,000 years ago. So if this thing goes off every 600,000 years, we kind of overdue. But scientists say there will be warning signs. There will be increasing number of earthquakes. Do I need to alarm anybody and say that we have, in general, in the world, just have been having more earthquakes? But that could be a scary sign. On average, there average 12 little earthquakes a day. In 2009, okay. So the average, in general, Yellowstone has 12 little earthquakes a day. In 2009, more than 4 times as many earthquakes a day started happening, with one day having 500. So, like, it's rapidly going up. And the ground will start rising. Like, the actual ground, Earth itself, will start rising when the magma under the ground is building up. And it'll, like, and the ground is literally rising in the last few years. It's rising at 8 inches per year now.
It's kind of a lot.
Yeah. Like, I think they have a literal measuring pipe that, like, has, like, the measurements going all the way up, and the ground is just, like, slowly engulfing it. So it's reading it. I don't know, it's kind of cool and scary. Ooh, and a boat that sunk in one of the lakes that is in Yellowstone has recently risen to the surface because of the dramatic land rising and prolonged exposure. Oh wow, my notes just jump all over the place. I promise for you guys in the future I'm going to try to do better in my notes because I hate this. My mind just jumps around. I'm probably ADHD or something, I don't know. So, okay, so if Yellowstone were to erupt, prolonged exposure to ash is very dangerous to inhale. So, like, obviously, that eruption is going to probably swallow, like, the country for the most part. Maybe the East Coast will be okay, but, like, the ash will just be all over the place. And
That's, like, so hard to believe sometimes. Like, obviously I know it's true, but, like...
And the plume of, like, the explosion would be so big and tall that it would get caught, like, in the jet stream. And for years, it would cause very little sunlight to come through. And it would drop the temperature and possibly cause an ice age. Just minor little possibilities.
That's so scary. Why'd you have to add that last part?
And then the ash could also change the acidity in the oceans. Oh, wow, look, I drew another picture. This is like the area of impact in the US. So that's like basically everything but the East Coast. And maybe like
Florida.
Yeah, that's all I got on Yellowstone.
I don't want to go see Yellowstone anymore.
I know. Like, I want to go and see it just because it's so freaking pretty, but like, I don't like my odds.
Yeah. Like, if you're not going to die from something natural, you're probably going to get kidnapped by a serial killer.
That too. Anywhere outside is scary in those terms.
Yeah, especially in the national parks. We did an episode on that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, interesting. I found out in Arkansas, apparently where my boyfriend lives, where I will be moving soon, it's like the Bermuda Triangle of national parks, of where people just like go missing and weird shit happens. And I've also heard that there's an underground cave tunnel system of sex trafficking in the national parks in this Arkansas Bermuda Triangle. I've also heard that there's evidence of giants. So, when I move there, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna research a lot.
Jeez, that is actually horrifying. What if you meet like a giant while you're up there?
Well, I think they're all dead. I gotta sneeze. Of course that happened. It's still there, but like the intensity went away.
That is the worst feeling.
I know.
Alright, let's talk about black holes. I don't have a lot on this. I feel like I'm going to start every single one of these by saying this is something that used to really scare me. Maybe I was just a big scaredy cat, but I think everybody's horrified of black holes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know they're not what I think that they are in my head. God bless you.
Thank you.
I know they aren't what I think they are in my head.
Okay, I'm done, I swear.
But like, just the fact that there's this giant hole of nothingness that just sucks in all matter, and Marina looked like she was about to sneeze again.
I'm struggling, but I'm good.
So, it's hard to answer how many black holes exist in our galaxy since their gravity is so strong, they swallow literally everything, and they also like swallow the light that would help us locate them. So, that's pretty crazy. We've spotted 2 black holes in our galaxy already. A guy named David Bennett from Notre Dame University in Indiana managed to spot 2 of them by the way they distorted and amplified the light of ordinary, more distant stars. And based on such observations and even more on theoretical arguments, researchers guesstimate there are about 10 million black holes in the Milky Way. These orbit just like other stars, meaning that it's not terribly likely that one is headed our way. But if a normal star were moving toward us, if a normal star was moving toward us, we would know it. But if a black hole was moving towards us, we would have like no warning at all. Even if one just passed through our solar system, it would throw off all the other planets' orbits, and we could see extreme climate swings on Earth. Or Earth could be ejected from the solar system altogether and go hurling to a frigid fate deep in space.
I just want to know what happens on the other side of a black hole.
Yeah, me too.
Cause like, they say everything is like spaghettified or whatever. But like, what does that mean? Like, that's just too much for my brain to comprehend. I don't know how the physicists do it. Like, that hurts my brain.
Black holes are so fun to listen to people talk about, but they're so scary.
I know.
And there's 10 million in our galaxy. It just takes one crossing through our area and we're all done for.
No thanks. No thanks. That makes my head spin. Okay. So are we ready for my probably favorite? It's a very recent story of, have you heard of La Palma?
Sounds very familiar.
It has been in the news recently. Okay. So La Palma is an island that's in the Canary Islands. And it's formed from basically a volcano. So before I go into what's happening recently, I watched a video from 3 years ago just to see what scientists were trying to predict for the future of this volcano. So what I got from that video was that La Palma is in a volcanic island 700 miles off the northwestern coast of Africa. And it's kind of like a newborn island at just 4 million years old. It has a fault line through the middle, just big enough for like a human to walk through. And on the west side of this fault line, the land had fallen like 13 feet down. So scientists warned that gas pressures under the ground could build up with a future eruption, splitting the island in half along this fault line. And the fault line is 300 miles like north to south on the island. And they believe that since it's so long that when it cracks open, 500 billion tons of rock will slide thousands of feet down into the ocean. And the slide would be about like 220 miles per hour of just like rocks going into the ocean.
What?
So, and it would create a dome of water 3,000 feet high, causing an ocean-wide mega tsunami reaching the east coast with waves, like the east coast of America, with waves 100 feet tall plus. And like, think of it as, because like a lot of people when they think of like a tsunami, they think like, oh, this volcanic island falling into the ocean will cause this one big wave. Like, it's a ripple. So like, think of pool balls on a table. If you line them all up and you hit that first ball, the energy travels and knocks the last ball with the most energy.
Yeah.
So like, if those ripples of waves are coming at the east coast, once we're smacked, that's the most energy. So it's like, scary. Okay. So now that we've gotten what the scientists said 3 years ago out.
I don't even want to know what the scientists are saying right now. Tell me they said that it will never happen.
Well, this volcano began erupting September 19th, 2021. But I don't mean erupting. So like volcanoes, I've learned, have different eruptions, different types, different severities. And this one was caused by lava flowing down like the mountain of the volcano after a crack formed. Oh, the cat decided to come out. Wow. Okay. So like, okay, the crack in the mountain formed and then lava started flowing out, causing an eruption. That's like something I don't understand. I've been trying to figure out the last few hours, like, what this eruption was, because like I have a live feed of this volcano on my TV right now and it's not erupting at the moment, it's just lava flowing down. But okay, so something interesting is that many earthquakes have been happening a lot more since this started going on September 19th or 17th.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say that's a live feed? Like, that's an actual video that's playing right now?
Yes.
I thought it was a still picture.
Hold on, let me get my cat because she's literally playing with the camera. Okay.
Yes, on the TV right now, there's just like this darkness, and you just see like super hot lava. Like,
Yeah, because
everywhere.
over there it's nighttime right now.
Oh, that makes sense.
Just like Africa, basically. It's pretty interesting that that's happening right the frick
It's
now.
really not that interesting, but it's kind of scary.
Okay, so basically, a lot of earthquakes have been happening since this started, even in the east coast of America. So I watched this one video, and this guy showed the seismic activity of the east coast 30 days before this started happening. Wasn't really a lot. There was like maybe 4 little earthquakes. But if you put it around like 7 days surrounding the day that this erupted, the East Coast was lit up with seismic activity, earthquakes. And it's just interesting that like the ground just starts speaking and then something happens and it could like really be disastrous. And also, before this happened, there's a lot of earthquakes, like in one little grid box of the island. So that obviously probably sparked the lava to come through the crack, and it started engulfing villages. They have a population of about like 80,000 people, and 7,000 had to be evacuated up until now, with one death so far. When it first erupted, there's like a volcanic eruption intensity scale, and when it first erupted, it was at a 0, but now it's at a 3. And I was also watching, there's this one guy that's there currently, like, putting vlogs up on YouTube of, like, the volcano. And he said that there was, like, 130 earthquakes in the last few hours as of his post 3 hours ago. And the scientists said a few days ago that it looked like the seismic activity was dying down for this one. But that dude that's actually on the island says that it really seems opposite. Like, it seems like it recharged while it was calm, and now it's starting to erupt again. Because, like, it actually has erupted. Like, there was, like, stuff coming out of it at certain points. So it's just scary, because, like, who really knows what's building up underneath and when it could erupt? If that west side of the island's already 13 feet shifted downward, and there's a fault line that's pretty wide, and that thing just, that's like, goodbye East Coast. At least for a long time. So, there's some funness.
That was so fun.
At least, I feel like I need to put in there, like, let's keep our thoughts and prayers with, like, the families on that island, because, like, that, I saw a lot of houses, like, seeing lava just eat away, like, whole towns is, like, so terrifying.
I bet so.
It just seems like such an unreal thing to see.
I, like, can't stop looking at the TV right now expecting, like, something crazy is about to happen all of a sudden. What would you do if while we're, like, recording this episode, you just start seeing it, like, start erupting?
Oh my god, that would be crazy. Wait, look in the background. Like, in the very back corner, like, on the... Like, what? It looks like there's something bubbling back there.
That wasn't there before, was it?
Not that I noticed.
Yeah, the volcano might be erupting. We'll just keep y'all posted.
Ooh, okay. How much more you got?
I have a couple others. Also, there could be a reversal of Earth's magnetic field. So every few 100,000 years, Earth's magnetic field dwindles almost to nothing for perhaps a century. Then it gradually reappears, and the North and the South poles flip. I didn't even know that. That's apparently a thing.
How did they never mention that in my physics class? We're literally going over magnetic fields.
I have no idea. Well, the last such reversal was 780,000 years ago, so we may be overdue.
Maybe that's why I haven't heard about it.
Worse, the strength of our magnetic field has decreased about 5% in the past century. Our magnetic field deflects particle storms and cosmic rays from the sun, as well as even more energetic subatomic particles from deep space. Without magnetic protection, these particles would strike Earth's atmosphere, eroding the already, I don't know what this word is that they had, beleaguered ozone layer. Also, many creatures navigate by magnetic reckoning, and a magnetic reversal might cause serious ecological mischief. Is it not crazy, though, that the North and South poles, like, they switch their, like, magnetism?
That is wild. Because, like, nothing I've learned in physics so far could explain that. Like, I don't get it. Why? Like, if y'all have ever taken a physics class before, y'all probably feel my pain, but, like, this shit's so cool, but it is just so impossible to wrap your little mind around when you're not born as, like, a Hawking or Einstein.
Let's see. Do you have more? I have a few other ones.
No,
But...
that's all I had. Oh, okay. Just had to correct the cat.
Just a couple other honorable mentions, we could also die from giant solar flares. So solar flares are enormous magnetic outbursts on the sun that bombard Earth with a torrent of high-speed subatomic particles. Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field negate the potentially lethal effects of ordinary flares. So basically, without going into like a giant explanation, like the sun's always putting off these little flares, but they're never like strong enough to do anything, kind of like you were talking about earlier. But there's this time where there's something called a super flare, and they'll amplify themselves up to like a factor of 20 times stronger. And scientists believe that these have happened in the past. But if one of these do end up happening in the future, one of these giant flares, it'll basically just destroy our entire atmosphere and ozone layer, and we would be sent into another ice age almost immediately. And apparently this type of activity contributed to 17 of the 19 major cold episodes that the Earth has experienced in the last 10,000 years. So there's a good chance that it might end up happening.
I'm manifesting that it does not.
The only other one I had was we could have an ecosystem collapse, which sounds like kind of dumb, but like if we keep destroying rainforests and everything the way that we are, then it's like one of those things where the insects that start pollinating plants end up dying, and the plants die and we all starve. And like one little thing could set off a million other things.
Something that would be completely human, man-made disaster.
At least 30,000 species vanish every year from human activity, which means we're living in one of the midst of one of the greatest mass extinctions in Earth's history.
Oh, I know. That's only going to get worse as we get older.
Like, who knows? There might be like some insect species that we need to live, we don't even realize it, and they might just end up dying out, and then we all die like as a chain because of it.
Because like we as humans may not need it, but some animal that we eat or some animal that does something for us will need it or something. Like, it's also intertwined. Nature is such a delicate balance. You heard about how like the global warming is like melting, what's it called, Serbia, like north of Russia, and they're like unveiling a lot of like woolly mammoths. Like, there's just so much about to be found out there.
I think I actually might have heard about that.
We're gonna have to do an episode on that soon. So many things I want to talk about. This episode, like, I took mental notes in the back of my brain of like possible other topics.
I think like anything like dinosaur and fossil related is so cool. Have you ever been like the Smithsonian?
No, I wish.
Oh, so
I
cool.
went to like this one museum in Atlanta that I thought was gonna be like cool as shit because I just saw like dinosaur skeletons in the pictures.
Yeah.
What's the actual word for that? Fossil? No. I feel like there's another word for like dinosaur skeletons in a museum. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Historic
tripping.
remains.
I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But basically I went and like the whole time I was like, I don't believe that's real. I don't know if they're saying that this is real, but like, this don't feel real.
They have like the actual ones in the Smithsonian that are real.
Okay, so then maybe these were real, but like I just kept looking at them and I'm like, there ain't no way. There just ain't no fucking way. They look like foam to me. Like the ones there look like foam.
No, I don't think so.
Like, I mean,
We also saw Abraham Lincoln's actual hat. That was so cool.
where is this museum at?
Pennsylvania, I think. If I'm
Yeah.
gonna sound like an idiot if I'm wrong. It's in one of those northern states over there.
Yeah, I've never been there. Probably won't for a long time.
It was really cool.
Alright.
Alright, you got anything else for us today?
Nope.
Alright, y'all. So, it's not likely that any of these events will happen anytime soon, except for this eruption that I'm watching on
Ongoing
television
lava
right now.
flow.
So yeah, put y'all's attention on that problem, because the other ones probably won't happen in our lifetime.
Yeah. I just, like, what if we wake up in the morning and it's like, La Palma exploded.
I'm running.
The land
I don't know where I'm
is
running to.
crumbling. I think Louisiana would be okay, though. Maybe we'd get, like, something, like, maybe I feel like by the time the wave got to Louisiana, it'd be, like, another hurricane type wave.
Yeah. Could you imagine like all the stuff being carried with that wave? Also, like a wave that big, wouldn't it like kill the entire ocean? Like, there's no way the sharks are just like riding the wave. Like,
I mean, it wouldn't kill the entire ocean. I don't think. No, that's ridiculous. It's not gonna like suck all the water out of the ocean floor and just like throw Sharknado into America.
okay, but if it's sending a huge wave that big, like,
I mean, they say like 100 feet plus by the time it gets to the East Coast. The ocean is a lot deeper than 100 feet.
yeah,
It'll
sure.
survive. The ocean will, but the East Coast maybe not. Because, like, La Palma, the island, is bigger than the island of Manhattan. So I think of the whole city of Manhattan just falling into the ocean. Ew. You got the added volume of, like, all the skyscrapers and shit.
Nope.
Alright, y'all. That's all we got today for ya.
Alright, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all follow us at Southern Woke Podcast or follow me at Kayla Mercado.
Or you can follow me at Marina Renee.
Alright, we'll see y'all next week with a brand new episode. Y'all stay woke.
Bye!